everybody, this is Andy. I'm the prop chef with Two Perspective Studio. Thanks for joining me today on this Try It Tuesday. If you're joining me on a replay later on, you can give me a hashtag replay, let me know that you were here. If you're looking for any of my previous lives, any video content, you can find replays over on my YouTube channel, which is Two Perspective Studio with Andy. You can also find some original content over on our blog website called thepropchef.com. You can subscribe on there to our email to get discounts on sale items for makers and lots of other stuff, plus the blog information. There's also going to be private tutorials over there that are not seen on YouTube. So you can go over there and subscribe to that. Hello, Janice and Jamie. How are you doing today? Hope everybody is doing well. This morning we had sort of a interesting lineup today in the Crafting Collective. We had Jess at 9:30, and now you have me, and that's basically it. Miss Cece is on vacation this week, and Jan has taken ill. She said it hurts to talk too much to come live, so she was not on. And Marie and Nicole had something come up, so they will not be on after me. So I may do, depending on what happens with the first thing I try and make, I may try and make a second thing and just stay on a little bit longer and annoy everybody today. I'm not sure. We'll have to see how it goes. But I hope everybody's doing good today. I wasn't able to come on last Thursday. I wanted to show you a personal size chicken pot pie that I had been working on. I've done it two different ways now. I wasn't able to do it last Thursday. I had some technical issues that I couldn't get solved, so it was sort of a bust, but I saved the project. I did not film it, and I'm going to show you sort of what I came up with. You can do this two different ways. You can do this full size, or you can do it personal size. I have a bunch of these little personal size foil pans that I thought they were going to be something else, but they ended up being this. Hi Margarita, how are you? And this looks more like a pot pie foil container rather than a regular pie, which is actually what I was wanting. I don't know if you've seen the trends on Pinterest, but everything this year is mini. Everybody wants everything in mini. So people keep asking me for mini pies, or I had somebody ask me for a mini root beer float the other day. I was like, what? How does one make a mini root beer float? Do they sell mini root beer float glasses? I mean, what are we talking? Keychain size? I mean, I don't know. I just said no. I don't have mini. I have regular. Hi, Jess. Hi, Peggy. So, yeah, the trend now going into the fall is mini. So everything is personal size pizzas, you know, personal size pies, personal size everything. So if people start asking you to do mini things, you know why. But I had gotten these foil pie containers. They are not super strong. The normal foil pie pans that I buy are extra heavy duty. They do not move at all. I was using the ones that just said heavy duty, and I was getting some crushing sometimes in shipping, so I went to the ones that are like extra super strong. This is not extra super strong. You can just crumble this very easily. But it's working for the purpose. Excuse me. This was the one that I did to show you guys last week that I didn't get to. It's not my favorite, but it was the first time I tried. I did make the little like vent holes in the top of the crust, And then I tried to put a little like fake gravy, like, you know, when you make a pot pie, sometimes the gravy will bubble up through the little cracks in the crust, or I actually put some around the outside of the crust in a couple of different areas just to try and give it a little more realism. For one thing, this gravy is much too dark for a chicken gravy, and I didn't like the way it actually dried a lot darker than it started, so that needed to be fixed. But all in all, I do like the crust and the shape and all that. So this is the closed version. I also, this morning, and it's still a little bit wet, so I have to be careful. This is an open version, which was more like what I wanted to do. And I'll probably do this as a full-size pie also. But I wanted to make it to where, like, you just put your fork in there and you know, bashed in the crust and you were getting ready, you know, letting your steam escape and all that kind of stuff. So it's got some chicken and some potatoes and some celery and peas and carrots in there, and it has a much lighter colored gravy. Hey Jan, hope you're feeling okay. This does not have, this is already glazed. This is not even finished I still have to do a little darker shading, especially around the outside of the crust, more like what I did on this one. It's hard to tell with my lighting here, but I did do a darker on top of this. But I did pour the resin gravy in there, and it is setting up, and I kind of like, you know, I kind of like the way that it is. So I'll show you how I did both of these, and then we'll go from there. So I can't actually pull this out because I had some leftover resin and I poured it down in there just to stick my foil and to give it a little more weight. That's something that I noticed with this one. You can barely even hold on to it. It's so light because all it is a big clump, like a foil ball, you know, all balled up and stuck in there, because pot pies really have that, you know, everything is humped up in the meat pies the way that you do that. So basically all I did was take some foil and crumple it all up, and then like I said, I put resin down in this one because I had some left over. You can use washers, you can use pie weights, kind of anything that's weighted that you have laying around that you can stick down in there just to give it some. It's all in your head, sinus crud. Yeah, a lot of people are having the sinus crud for sure. Now, it's a really bad allergy season around here with all the chennapods popping up. The goldenrods are going crazy and all that. So it could just be allergy. I'm hoping. I'm hoping you don't have anything serious, Jan. So that's how I started this one, the one without the chunk taken in it. Now, for this one, I did the same sort of thing. I'm going to move this guy out of the way. I don't have anything right here to weight this down with, but I would probably take like 3 of my big washers and glue them down in the bottom. You can also just leave a space down here in the bottom if you want to put more resin. You could put just a little bit of plaster of Paris down in here, which I do with a lot of my pies, just to give them some oomph on the bottom and make them a little more realistic feeling. I had to scale it back a little bit with my plaster of Paris because it was actually creating too much weight. So there's sort of a fine line between how much weight you can put in it if you're going to ship it. If you're not shipping things, it's no biggie. Hi, Renee. This is going to make noise, so sorry. I should have done this ahead of time. And I just pulled like 2 arm lengths, I guess, of this. And then I just sort of strategically, if that's even possible, sort of strategically start to fold this into a ball. Now, with this one, it's just a solid ball, and I shoved it down in there and left it, you know, humped up, kind of like a pie would look. With this one, because I have this cutout, I want to start an indentation that kind of looks like a big foil Pac-Man. That was all I could think of to call it. I wasn't sure. I was like, well, is it the letter C or is it? I was like, no, Pac-Man. Everybody will understand that. So I just started squishing it down. That's a very technical term, I realize. Squish it. And I just kept that indentation in there and got it pretty solid, because you want your foil to be packed, and you want to make sure that you have enough space in here to do the things that you want to do. So basically, you can make your opening as big as you want it, you know, whatever you're trying to portray. And like I said, you can do this with a full size. You'll need more foil, of course, but a full-size pie pan will work just fine. And if you don't think that you have enough hump on it, like I think that's probably pretty good for a pot pie, but if you don't think that you have enough, add some more foil around it until you get it to where you want it. Now, like I said, these are pretty flimsy, so you have to be careful because they get misshapen and kind of funky looking. So you have to just manipulate it until you get it right. But I mean, that looks, you know, like the area where, just like this one, where they took the chunk out of it and started eating their pie, or venting their pie. You know, whenever it comes out of the oven, it's like burn your face off hot, and you always have to poke it open and let all that steam out before you can even eat it. So that was kind of the look that I was going for. Just to make it look a little more realistic. And I mean, let's face it, if somebody looked at this right off the bat, you might say, oh yeah, that's a pot pie, but you might say, what the heck kind of pie is that? This way, you know what kind of pie it is because you can see inside. So, but that's just me. I don't know. All right. So from here, you just need a little glue, or like in this case, I had the leftover resin and I just poured it down in the bottom and stuck my foil to it. You can do that in this case too. You can use a little bit of glue. You can use your plaster of Paris. You know, however you want to stick it down there is just fine. Just as long as it sticks. I think I need to push this together just a little more. Alright. So then what I did was I made the crust topping. Now you guys know I love my Model Magic. I had some in here that I colored with a little tint of yellow ochre paint. And it's stuck to my other one, so I'll have to knead all this together again. Yeah, if you don't let your pot pie cool off and you take a big old bite of that, you're going to get a blister in your mouth. But boy, do I love a pot pie. I love any kind of pot pie. I like beef pot pie and turkey pot pie and chicken pot pie. I love pie. I like those, it's so easy, those Marie Callender's pot pies. They are so good. They have big chunks of veggies in them, and they're so easy. You just throw them in the oven, an hour later, that's it. You just pull it out. No fuss. After working all day, that's the last thing I want to do is cook things sometimes. I don't cook like I used to, but it's funny, I spend the whole day making all this fake food and then I don't want to cook the real stuff. Alright, so I have some tinted clay. Now you can use plain clay, you can use foam clay for this. I will warn you though, and you've probably, if you've used foam clay on a pie before, make sure that you give it a little more crust than you think you need, because it will shrink, and you don't want it shrinking in, you know, to where you can see the whole foil on the rim of your pan. You know, you definitely want to make it a little bit bigger, because you know foam clay is going to shrink. Model Magic doesn't shrink as much. I still give it a little bit of an overhang. Just, I think it looks more natural when you do a little bit of overhang on pot pies, but that's just me. Colleen, you love pot pie too? Yeah, Kim, I don't do anything when I don't feel good. I mean, I do, I guess. I usually try and push through it, but cooking is just not my thing anymore. I cooked for such a long time. I mean, being a caterer for as long as I was, I don't want to cook anymore. Hey, Priscilla, how are you? So, my big rolling pin is still in the kitchen, and I'll tell you why in a little while. I'll actually show you why. So I have to use this little one to try and roll out my pie crust. So if I look a little spazzy, I'm sorry. I don't have my good rolling pin. But what I'm going to do is roll this out bigger than my surface area, just like you would if you were putting a, you know, some people put pie crust on the bottom and the top of their pot pie. Some people just put the filling and then they put the crust over the top. It just depends on your pot pie preference. Try and say that 3 times fast. I can't even say 3 times fast, 3 times fast. But not everybody puts, I mean, I'm a pie crust lover, so I would put it on the bottom and the top. Marie Callender's puts it on the bottom and the top. That's why I like her pot pies. But not everybody does. But in this case, you're just going to make it look like you kind of put it on the bottom and the top. For this one, it was just on the top, and nobody knows whether it's on the bottom. So you have to roll this out a little bit. I'm also trying to roll it on this paper, and it's not working very well. All right, I think that's probably big enough. Let's give it a little, try and make it a little more circular. All right, so that is about that much bigger. So I've got probably a 1/2 inch all the way around here, a little bit bigger. And that's about what I did with the first one. So to shape this, I just laid it over the top, and then I sort of slowly molded down in this little cutout area, my little Pac-Man mouth. And I'm gonna try and leave it toward you so you can see what I'm doing. But I'm trying not to make holes in it, because I'm going to put some resin in there, and if I make a hole in the clay, it's going to fill the whole chamber up, and I'm going to need a lot of resin. Oh, I love puff pastry. Yum. Hey, Sam, how are you? I was looking at that picture of you acting on the stage. You were looking good. Looks like you're enjoying your new home. I'm a little jealous, I have to admit. I want a new home so bad. I don't even care where it is. I just want a new home. All right. So I was just sort of stretching my clay, but I didn't leave any holes in there. But now I have that divot to where that's where we can put all of our veggies and all that to make it look, you know, like a decently realistic pot pie. Now I'm going to take my needle tool, and I'm just going to make some marks here to make it look like somebody was sort of digging around in there with a fork, like they were just going to open it up. And then I'm going to take the opposite side, just the blunt side of my needle tool, and I'm going to pull this crust back and sort of shove it down in there to where there's a little bit of the foil exposed in the front. Because I want it to look like when they dug it out to vent their pot pie, the crust sort of caved in and cracked open. You're making food props for the show too? Way to go. What are you making? You must have so much fun with that. All right. So now we have all of this overhang, and my clay has started to make these little ripply indentations on all that foil. And I'm loving that because it makes it look like there's big chunks of potatoes and peas and carrots and meat and all that in here. So that's what we want. We want that foil to give it that natural texture of a real pot pie. So I'm going to help it along a little bit more. And just make sure that it looks just so. Then I'm going to take this excess crust. I'm probably going to snip a little bit of it off, but not a whole lot. I want just a little bit extra on there so that I can roll it just a little bit under, kind of like what you would do with a real pie crust. You sort of roll it under just to give it a little something something. I don't know why we do that, but we make our chicken wings cool. I was going to try and make some drumsticks. I haven't done that yet, and I was going to give it a whirl. Hey, Tammy. So I'm tucking all, I'm going to chop a little more. I've got a lot over here, so I'm going to cut a little more over here. But I'm going to continue tucking. And there's a lot right here, so I'm going to take some of this off. It just gives it a little more girth, I guess you would call it, right along the edge. Because I'm going to take my handy dandy plastic fork that I keep in here, and I'm going to give my crust that signature forked, I don't even know what you call that. I'm going to fork it. Plastic fork, all you need to make a nice little pie crust. And I'm just going to press along here. And I don't know, this is like the old-fashioned, my mom always did her pie crust like this. She never did anything fancy. It was just always the little fork. So just like that, easy peasy, we have that on there. I actually didn't do this one as well as I wanted to, but this one, that's my style crust right there. Reminds me of my mama's cooking. All right, so we have our texture, we have the nice little divot in there, and we're ready to put our filling in. So this is like a totally easy, quick little craft thing. So to make my little chicken pieces, all I did was take some skin colored clay, and I made little sort of squares and then elongated them into some, I don't know. You know, when you make chunks of chicken, they're never completely uniform. I mean, you could do uniform squares if you wanted to, but I thought the skin colored clay with the gravy on it looked pretty realistic. So that was what I used for the chicken. Now you don't have, well, mine doesn't any, you know, if you were doing a bigger pie, you know, you'll have a bigger space, so you'll want to make more than just a couple of pieces. But I don't have much space here, so I only have a few of each. For my carrot pieces, I just took some orange clay, rolled them into little balls, and then I squashed them down. And I have 2 carrots here. For the peas, I just used the green, and this is all foam clay, green foam clay, and I just rolled them into little pea-sized balls. For the potato pieces, I made little cubes out of just some Model Magic. And for the celery, which of course is optional if you don't put celery in your, I like celery, I used mint clay, and I made little bitty Pac-Mans. So I'm on a Pac-Man kick today. But it was just a little, I rolled a little ball and then rolled it into a tiny little snake, and then I just curved it in half, and that was how I did the celery. So those are basically my veggies for this. So it wasn't any big deal at all. And then I started with the carrots, and I made the carrots sort of stick to my Model Magic on either side like that, just so that you could see that bright orange color. And then I dropped, because my hole goes down in there a little bit, I dropped one of the bigger chicken pieces down in there, and then I put some of my potatoes in here, stuck one on the back, another piece of chicken here, and I'll put some more chicken over here, and then I'll put my peas in, and then my celery. Celery is optional. And I'll just stick that there. And that filled up my cavity with the chicken and the veggies. So it kind of looks like you just broke down in there. Then I took, you can use a needle tool. I have these little spatula thingies. You can use anything just to make that little vent hole, you know, the little signature vent holes in the top of the crust. You just put a couple of them in there. It's just, you know, more decoration than anything. And then it's ready for shading. All you have to do, because you've already tinted your clay, if you didn't, you'll have to do the base coat with a yellow ochre will be your base coat. If you already tinted your clay with your base coat, you can go right on to a raw sienna, or you can shade this, wait until it dries, of course, shade it with makeup, just like you would a regular pie. You can do either one. Soft pastels work, paint works, you know, whatever you're used to doing with these things is totally fine, however you want to shade them. Anything works. So I'm just taking a little bit, I'm using a smaller, it's probably 1/2 inch flat brush, just one of the little ones. You can use a makeup sponge in the paint for this, and you won't get any brush strokes at all. Either way works just fine. I got pretty good with the airbrush thing too. I'm really enjoying that. If you have an airbrush, you can airbrush this in 10 seconds. Well, not 10 seconds, but you know what I mean. It's pretty quick. Airbrushing is a lot more fun than I gave it credit for. I regret not having the machine earlier. I really like it. And it makes this job so much easier when I'm doing large quantities of things, like those shrimp. Oh my lord. That was a lot of shrimp, guys. Not good. I didn't think it was ever gonna finish. It just kept going and going and going. And I just got an order again. If you remember my 90 bagels I had to make for the Capital One Club, they just placed a reorder for 60 more. So I got a 60 bagel order on my plate again. And I have to reorder my clay because that's a lot of clay. Not that I don't love the big orders, but shoo. Takes a lot of hand power. But this time I'm going to use the airbrush on the bagels, so it should go a whole lot quicker. Yes, I use the acrylic paints. Now, you can buy actual airbrush paint if you want to, but there are plenty of YouTube videos on how to thin your acrylic paint out enough to where it doesn't clog the machine. And I actually just, because I didn't know how to use an airbrush, I'm not going to lie. I had to learn, and I had to learn quick. But yeah, there's one guy, and I wish I could tell you who it was. If you want to know specifically, if you're wanting to learn how to use one, you can send me a message and I can look up who the guy was that I followed to find out the consistency that was necessary. You can thin the paint out with, hi Marie, you can thin your paint out with regular Windex. You have to like take stock in Windex to clean the machine. It's very important to keep it completely clean or it's not going to work right. So, but you can actually thin your paint solution with Windex as you're working, and it works fine. But they recommend distilled water just so that you don't have any mold formation down in there. But it's pretty cool, all the things that you can do with them. I've really enjoyed learning how to use it, and I'm excited to do the bagel order with it just to see how much faster it goes. Okay, so I have this one nicely shaded up. I know you can't see a whole lot of contrast in there. Maybe if I hold it a little more. I will glaze over the top of this. It looks shiny now, but it's not. It'll dry matte. But this one has been glazed. This is just my first try. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some resin, and I have I use these medicine cups a lot when I'm just doing a little bit of resin. And I have the quicker, I guess, quicker setting resin. But regular resin works fine. Just let it sit for about 30 minutes. Yes, it was a lot of shrimp. I don't want to do any more shrimp for a while. This is the part A, part B, quicker setting resin. I'm not as big a fan of this one as I am just the regular Let's resin. I use this one just because I bought it and I have to use it, but I probably won't buy it again. Get my scale out here. I always scale this stuff now because I end up with usually more of B than A. The last time we ended up with more A than B, so I'm not sure. I only need about an ounce, so it'll be a ½ ounce of each one of these. So it's not going to take a whole lot of resin. So it'll be 0.5 and 0.5 ounces. If it ever gets there. Come on. One more. Alright, there's 0.5 of A. I'll do 0.5 of B. All right, there's 1 ounce. So I need to stir. I'm just going to use one of these little stick things here. These are reusable. So if I just have a little bit, I try and reuse them rather than wasting a popsicle stick. Save a tree, right? They're making the popsicle sticks out of bamboo now, and I appreciate that. Because bamboo grows a whole lot quicker than trees. Where did I get the extra heavy-duty pie pans? I found them on Amazon. You just have to, I actually ended up buying several different kinds before I found one that I was happy with. So you just have to kind of search it. My daughter said if you go, I don't know if you have a U.S. food store near you, but they often have good heavy-duty foil pans there. So you might want to check if you have one near you, because it might save you from buying a ton of stuff in bulk like I did. I have so many pie pans now, it's ridiculous. Alright, so my colors for this were blush and bashful. Just kidding. I know everybody has to know what that's from, right? I hope. So I put about 15 drops of, this is the Ranger caramel color, or caramel. And I'm going to mix that in. Does anybody know what that's from? I did a movie reference. Sam and Marie, where are you? One of you had to know what that was. My colors are blush and bashful. Her colors are pink and pink. Sally Field and Julia Roberts. All right, Marie's laughing. You know what it is? I love that movie. Okay, so when you put about 15 drops in of the caramel color, it gives you sort of a deep amber. And that's nice, but it's not what you need. So I really like this ocean white pigment. This is, yes, I actually, Kim, I have the Let's resin in the gallon jugs. I know you can't see it over here, but mine have the plunge tops on them, and they're 1 gallon each. They do, and you can buy them on Amazon. Yeah, steel magnolias. So this ocean white is an opaque, a very opaque, very strong white pigment. It's not like the white alcohol ink. So be very careful. Be very, very careful, as Elmer Fudd would say. Be very, very careful when you put this in, because you don't want to overdo it. I don't know why I'm giving such weird references. We were away this weekend, and I got to see one of my best friends, and I had such a good time, and I didn't have to work, and we had 4 days off, and it was lovely. And now I'm just all weird. So I put like half a pea size, maybe a quarter of a pea size. It was very, very tiny in with this. And it made a pretty nice chicken gravy color. Now, if you put too much of that white in there, holy cow. Because, I mean, it's super strong. Even if you're using it in a bigger mix, you really have to be very conscientious. I usually put it on the end of a toothpick and mix it in little by little until I get there, because I have ruined a lot of resin with that stuff because it's so strong. If JR was watching this, he would be like, "Oh my gosh, she's got that out. Holy cow, don't overdo it." All right. So now I have, and I know it looks weird on my camera, But this is a really nice Weezer. Yes, Weezer's my favorite. Weezer Boudreaux. I love Olympia Dukakis in that movie too. She's such a hoot. All right, so I have my nice chicken gravy color. Put my stick up there. Now I'm just going to take this little by little, turn it around so you can see what I'm doing. And I'm just going to start pouring. Now normally I would let this thicken up a little bit, but I didn't mix my resin ahead of time. So that's my fault. But I'm just coating all my veggies and filling my little area here. And I'm going to put a couple of drops right on this foil where we split that in half. Now I don't want it to run over the edge, so I'm going to try and be extra careful that that doesn't happen. I'm just going to like tip my foil up on the edge just to make sure it doesn't go anywhere. And I will put a little bit just to sort of get it up on the top here. I'm going to fill that right up. I need to watch it for a couple of minutes to make sure that I didn't get any holes in my clay and my resin doesn't start sinking down in there. But that's what it looks like with the gravy in there. Now, after it's all dry, after the resin is all dry, I will go and glaze it like I did this one. I don't think I'm going to put any resin in the little vent holes like I did this. I don't like the look. That was just my, let's see if we can do this kind of thing, which I always try and do before I do it live, because if I try and do it live and I don't know if I can do it, I get all flustered. I try not to do that. So I try and show you what I already know I can do, if that makes sense. Doesn't always work out that way. I'm going to put just a little more of this up here, I think. I don't want to overflow it. And I really hope I don't have a hole in that. If you do get a hole in the clay and the resin starts soaking in, just wait overnight for it to dry and then go back over it with another ½ ounce or, you know, whatever you need to fill up the cavity. And then you'll have that weight in the bottom. It's not a big deal. Either way is just fine. Get that to drip off of there. I'll have one drop on a vent hole. Drop. There we go. All right. So I pretty much, I guess I only needed about a ½ ounce to get this in here. But I mean, it looks good. It's full to the edge. And it doesn't look like I've got a hole in there. So like I said, I'm just going to, you know, I'll gloss it up once it's all dry. And I'm going to pour this in here just to give it a little bit more weight in there. And I'll let that one dry before I make a solid one. Okay, so that is basically how you do, hi Stephanie, that's basically how you do the chicken pot pie. So, I was telling you guys last week, I think it was last Tuesday, I said that I had a new crust mix coming out, and I was going to do a gingerbread mix that all you have to do is add water, and you can make gingerbread cookies, you can make a gingerbread house, you can gingerbread whatever you want. I made a gingerbread house. Well, I haven't made the house yet. I made the pieces to construct the house. And if you guys want, Marie and Nicole aren't coming on today. If you want, I can stay on here a little while and try to construct my house and show you how it works. So if you feel like you want to see that, you have to let me know. If I'm boring you and you're like, no, just go away, I can do that too. Hey Shelby. So, all right. Jamie says stay, so I'm going to stay just for Jamie. I have them all on my cart here. This mix is going to be really cool. It smells just like realistic gingerbread. And you're going to get enough mix to be able to build a house. You just have to do some simple cutouts, and I'm going to provide a template out of cardstock to where you'll be able to just take a knife and maybe some round cookie cutters or little square cookie cutters or whatever to cut out windows and a door, and you know, that's basically all you have to do. You can cut out a chimney piece if you want, but you'll be able to just use a knife to do most of these cuts. So it'll be pretty easy, but there will be enough to do, and all of my cuts are not like spectacular, so, but it smells just like gingerbread. It's amazing. I absolutely love this mix. But you'll get two of these pieces. This will be the front, and this will be the back will just be plain. You can pipe or, you know, use slick paint or whatever to make another door in the back if you want to. That's optional. You can make floor pieces if you want more structure. The larger pieces will be for your roof. They'll be like that on your roof. And then you'll have some side pieces that'll have windows like this, and you'll get little crossbars. Let's see if I can get it in there. I don't know which window they came out of, but you'll get little crossbars like that that you can put in your windows, or you can leave them out, either way. But you'll get those pieces as well. And then, so you'll get two walls, you get two roof pieces, you get a front and a back piece, you'll get a little door piece, you'll get the crossbars for the windows, and you'll get a little chimney that you can put right in the center of the roof that you can decorate too. So these other pieces, I'm not sure which roof piece is going to be the better of the two, so I'm going to keep this one over here. But you can cut all that out. You can also use gingerbread cutters and cut out gingerbread men. But it smells like just like gingerbread. It has real ginger, it has cinnamon, it has cloves. I mean, it has all the stuff in it. So it's totally cool to make a realistic house. But this one isn't going to rot because it's real food. This is fake. So it's going to last for a really long time. I'm going to put these pieces on the desk. Put my candies over here. My daughter found me some gumdrops at Hobby Lobby, so I have gumdrops now. But I'm going to use a combination of hot glue, which I should have turned that on already, and spackle. So I'm going to load up a pastry bag with some spackle. And I don't know if I'm going to put a tip in it or if I'm just going to use the tipless. Not sure. I think maybe I'll put a small tip in it. That might be the better way to do this. If I can find it. I see a large one. Something hit the floor. Oh, it only looks like I have large ones. Alright, I guess we're going tipless. Hey, Deborah. You're just in time to watch me really make a mess. So I used to do the little graham cracker houses with my girls when they were little. But I haven't done a gingerbread house in a really long time. I don't know where mine. There it is. So I don't know how well this is going to come out, but it'll be interesting. You know, it's always a show with me. Never know what you're gonna get. So I'm just gonna load this up while my glue gun is heating up. I figure the combination between the hot glue and the spackle is probably going to be good enough to hold it. I'm hoping. If you guys have any better ideas, chime in now on how to get this sucker to hold up. Maybe enough. A little more for good measure, right? I always overload my pastry bags too, and then I can't get it to squeeze out. I'm going to put a tie on the end of this. I love gingerbread houses too. I think they're amazing. Alright. So one thing about that gun is it takes forever to heat up. I need to snip off the bottom of this. So I have these cake boards. I think they're about 11 by 13, maybe. I thought that was a good size. They're 10 by 13. But I thought it was a decent size to do this on. And I guess I should probably do it long ways. I'm not sure if I should use a floor for stability or not. I don't think this is long enough to be my floor though. Let's see. I wonder. It might be too long. Let's see how long my roof is. Maybe I can use that. Okay, I think I'll use the floor. I'll make a floor piece just for stability. Alright, come on, gun. I probably need more hot glue than this. So I think I'm going to start just by putting a little tack just to keep it on the board right in the center. Wood, spackle, and foam sheets, huh? Like balsa wood? Okay, I need to have the dark. See, there's a light side and a dark side. I don't know if you can tell the difference, but one side is a little lighter than the other, so I want the dark side facing out. Just because the dark side is the better side. Glue boogers, glue boogers. This board might be a little bigger than what I need, but put that And I do have a space on the top of my roof, but I don't think it's going to matter. Let's see if I can do this before the glue dries. Well, I think I got it first try. Woohoo! Look at that. Look at me go. And then I'm going to put a little bit of glue in the middle seam just to reinforce this. And I am going to put some spackle in there as well. I just want to seal that crack with the hot glue before I carry on. That's so cute. It looks like a little house. I'm loving it. All right. So we need some side walls here. Get out of there. I have to turn it this way. Let's see if I can do this on the bottom. I'll do the bottom first, and then I'll do the top, if that makes sense. See if I can get it to stand up. My daughter made a haunted house out of wood this weekend, and she put some lights in it, and she tinted some of that like acrylic sheeting. She used that and tinted it sort of an orangey color, so when the lights are on the inside it looks all spooky. It came out really cute. I'm not big on Halloween, and I even liked that. Let's see if I can tack the sides here, just to give it a little more stability. I'll go over it all with spackle, so I don't think you'll be able to see any of the hot glue. I hope. And there's a little space between the roof and the top of the wall here. So I think when I do my template, I'll have to make my wall a little bit taller. So I will fix that. But this is exactly what I need to do to figure out everything that I need to do for the templates. So I'm just going to set the door right on, I think right on the outside. Let me see if I have another door piece that fits a little better. Yeah. So I want it to be a little bit of a, yeah, I think that was probably the best one. I want it to be a little bit of a, like, protruding door. Not that it's completely closed. I think it'll be cuter if it looks a little more protruding. Because then I can make details on it. Stuck my finger in the glue. And then here's the little pieces for the windows. And we can put those in. I know you can't see what I'm doing, but I'll show you when I turn it around. I'm just putting these little crossbars in the windows. Like this. Just to make it look a little more like a house. figured I wasn't going to get out of this without a glue burn. And I did not. Alright. Alright. So I got the crossbars and all the windows. I didn't do any for the front. And I'll show you why. Oh, I forgot to put the chimney on. We need a little chimney up here. Maybe in the middle or a little toward the back, maybe. Oh, I found these little wreaths at Hobby Lobby. They're little baby wreaths. And I thought, how cute would that be to put a wreath in the top and on the windows. Like that. I think that's so cute. An old sod house. How neat. Yeah, I think you can make these things out of so many different things to make them really cool. I thought about making this one more like an alpine house with a really long sloped roof on it. I just love how the little, I think that's so cute in there. I know it looks a little rickety right now, but I think once we start decorating it, it's going to be cute. So I'm going to put some of this. I'm going to start, I think, at the top of this, where the wall meets the roof. I want to put it right there, and I want to bring it up on the roof. I'll show you when I come around to the other side to make it look like there's snow coming off the roof. Kind of like that. So I'm going to do the same thing on this side. I'm just going on the top of that wall since I had a little space there. And then I came up and around and did the very base. And I'm sort of wiggling it up and down to make it look like there was snow sort of sitting there. And I'm going to do the top of the roof the same way. Just going to sort of jiggle wiggle. I'm going to put a little on here. Like that. Oh. So look at that. Just in a couple of little strikes, it looks much better. And I'm going to bring it down this front eave. I'm just sort of jiggling it as I go. I think that's cute. I figured I was really going to enjoy doing this, and I am. I'm going to keep on giggling all the way through this, I'm sure. This would be a fun activity with kids. Alright, now bring it down the sides all the way to the ground, and then I'll probably build up some snow all the way around it. And it looks like snow poofs the more you sort of jiggle the pastry bag, even though I don't have a tip on it. Looks like the snow has been building up. That's super cute. I love it. So, should I use spackle on the roof and just make some swirls and then put candies in them, or should I use slick paint? What do you think? I'm not sure where to go from here. I think I am going to put a little spackle on the top of the windows if it'll hold. You think spackle on the roof? Okay. Let me get a paper towel and clean this off so I can get a clean edge up here. Alright, let's see if I can do this. I know you can't see what I'm doing. I needed to turn this around. It's going to be hard if it's not facing me though. Like that. I know I'm going quick, but I get excited. This is not going to be like a professional gingerbread house for sure. Jess, was it you? If you're still on here, Jess, was it you that did the really pretty one? The really pretty gingerbread house? I know somebody just did one, and I was like, wow, that's really cool. Alright. Roof is done. What else should we do? We're going to have to make, maybe we'll make a window. I probably should have put a window in the back. We'll make a snowy looking window. We need to put some snow over our door. For sure. Snow around the door for sure. Put some snow over these windows too. I think I'm going to put wreaths in the front windows. So we'll just have a little snow above the wreaths. Alright. What do you think? This is fun. This is like no stress crafting. I like it. I think I'm going to put these wreaths right into this spackle and have all 3 wreaths on the front, and I may put one on the back because I really like the way that looks. I think it's cute. And I may put one right in the middle of my circle in the back, and we'll just pretend that we had a window there. Like that. Should we put wreaths on the sides? Oh, I don't think I have enough. I only have 2 left. Oh, that's a bummer. Okay, so I have gumdrops. Oh, where did that come from? I have gumdrops, lollipops, candy canes, peppermints, and little wrapped candies to decorate with. And I think I have M&Ms in my cabinet. These have strings on them, but you can pull them right off. I had these last year too. But I thought they would look cute going along the top of the roof. You have to tell me if you have ideas. Say, hey, fool, don't do that. Do it this way. Uh-oh. Runaway gumdrop. These are cute little gumdrops. They look all sugary. I don't remember what I used them for last year, but I used a bunch of them, and I didn't have any more. And when I went to Hobby Lobby a couple of weeks ago, they didn't have any. I put one on the chimney, too. Why not? But my daughter found them. I guess they're putting a lot of stuff out now. They didn't have it all out before. I like the look of the candy canes next to the door, so I definitely want to do that. Maybe on the sides here. I think that's cute. And maybe lollipops in the back. Oh, I have a pink one. That's cute. Okay, so what do we put on the roof? I have these little candies that have minties in them, and then I have these little bitty ones. What should we put on the roof? These little candies? Or should I use more gumdrops? Should I make it all gumdroppy? I don't know what to do. I'm getting messy. Every time you comment, you get kicked out. Oh no. That usually happens to me. I can't comment on anything. You like these, Jane? I like these too. Let me see how many. Oh, I have peppermints too. Peppermints might look cute. I forgot about that. Yeah, I have a bunch of these little wrapped ones. These little ones. Maybe we can do both, since they're both kind of pepperminty. Like every other one. That would be adorable. I like that. Let's see. And then here. And here. That's a weird looking roof. I like it. It has to be full of candy, right? Let's see what else I have. I have more. Oh, I need one. Oh, I have one more. Yay! I had enough. All right. So the roof is filled with peppermints. Look at how cute that is. And there's the back and the front. What else do we need to do? How about some peppermints along the front? That would be cute. I have a lot of these peppermints. And what else? I have these little hard candies. And some of them are round and some of them are square. I need to put these down here too. I'm just shoving things in all over. This is fun. I like this kind of crafting. Isn't he cute? Okay, what do we do with the sides? Gumdrops along the bottom? Yeah, I have a whole other package of gumdrops. I have plenty for that. Let me get some in there. I may have to add a little spackle over here. Ooh. What other kind of candies are you supposed to use to decorate these? Other than like M&Ms. I think I have some of those, but I don't know. I'm liking this gumdrop theme. Gumdrops and peppermints. I think that's adorable. What do we put over the top of the roof? Oh, you know, I can put finishing sugars on these. I forgot. Let's see. And I have more lollipops too. Although I don't know where I'd put them. I think I need some trees and stuff. I need some more wreaths. I wanted wreaths on every window and I don't have it. I only have 2. That's alright, we can make it work. We will make it work. Put that on there and then we will put, maybe we can put a lollipop on the other one. Would that be weird, putting a lollipop on the window? Yeah, that looks weird. Let's not do that. We can put a candy on the other window. I need to go get some more of those wreaths. Alright, so we need a couple more gumdrops for the front. I love these pink ones, they're so fun. I like the gumdrops on the sides too. Pink and purple. Oh, we need something over the door. Should we put a peppermint? We don't put peppermint. Maybe we should put something on the door. Oh, we could put a lollipop on the door. But what color? Red. Let's see. Let's get a blob of this. Hey, Raymond. There. That's cute. It has a lollipop door. I like it. I need something on the trim up here. Should we do more gumdrops on the trim? This is a wacky looking house. This is like Willy Wonka's Christmas house. That's the same color. Let's do a different color. Maybe a peppermint. Maybe a candy cane. Maybe a candy cane up here. I like the candy cane. Peppermints along here. Let's try that. We could do peppermint and candy cane. We could do peppermint and like alternate. That might be cute. Because I have a lot of each. Thanks to Joanne Barandy, I have a lot of each of these. Because she said to go buy the ornaments that were full of these things. Did you see her do that video on there? She said buy the ornaments for $1.50 and then rip them open and take out all the candies in the middle. So I did it. Far be it from me not to listen to Joanne Barandy. Now that is a funky candy house. I love it though. There's a lot going on there. Oh no, something fell. I think my spackle is starting to dry, so my stuff is going to fall off now. I'm going to have to go back and glue it, I think. Let's see. I need more peppermints. Oh, stop. Stay. Oh my goodness. This is adorable. It's goofy, but it's adorable. Alright. I think I've candied it up enough. That's not terrible, huh? It just needs wreaths over these two windows and it'll be perfect. What do you think? Oh, I have a gingerbread man. I have one. Let me see if I can reach him. Gotta get my stick. Gingerbread man. Should he be? I have more than one. And I have, should I make have a smaller one? Because he can't fit through the door, can he? Let me see if I can grab a smaller one. Where are you? Oh, here they are. Alright, I have big ones. And I have small ones. Should I use the small one? Or I could have like, I don't know. These guys almost look like they can fit through the door, so I think I'd have to use the small one. But I can glue them here. I just have to decorate them. I think I should use slick paint for that though, instead of the spackle. What do they have? What do they have? Like red buttons or colored buttons, a red mouth, and what color are their eyes? What color are gingerbread people's eyes? White? White, red mouth with colored buttons? Is that how you do that? I'm not good at this. Don't knock everything off onto the floor. Alright, I have red, I have chocolate, I have white, I have purple. Alright, I have lots of pink. I have every color of this freaking paint. Oh, I said freaking, didn't I? Sorry. Peppermint button. I think the peppermint buttons are too big. Black eyes. Oh, they have the squigglies on their wrists and on their feet, don't they? Let me get this open. I think the peppermint candies are too big for the buttons, but maybe I could draw them with the slick paint. Maybe? Sounds messy. Alright, let's see. Ooh, there went stuff. Alright, let's see if we can do this. So I know they have the squigglies on their arms and on their feet, or their ankles. Like that. So white eyes. A red mouth. I don't know why I have purple. October 12th gingerbread event. Uh-oh. Okay, so how do I do that? Let's see. If I make a circle, and then I do the white. Let's see if we can do this without making a total mess. We just made a total mess. Okay, that's not what I wanted. It's hard to do these little buggers. Oh, and he's supposed to have white across his forehead too, isn't he? Okay, how's he? He's not terrible. So then I can sort of see if I don't drop him. I can maybe hot glue gun him down. I probably should have put spackle down. I should have put spackle down to make it look like snow all around, like the floor here. Because then I can put little Christmas trees in it. Oh, and I can use my finishing sugars. I'll just make this look like smudgy snow. It's another technical term. Smudgy snow. I have some little Christmas trees from last year in my box in the other room. That would be a cute addition. Turn this around so it won't make too big of a mess. I should probably leave a pathway though. What do you think of a peppermint pathway? That would be cute. I have enough of those here to do that. Just bring them out the door to where they have to walk on the peppermints. I'm going to have to thank Joanne Barandy for this idea of getting all these little candies. There he has a little peppermint pathway coming out of the house. Isn't that friggin' cute? I just love this. I think I need another little person over here. So I'm going to have to do that again. Holy cow. Let's see if we can do this again. Alright, that was painless. Cookie trees. I think I have a tree cookie cutter. That's a good idea. You guys have the best ideas. What I do? Red mouth, white eyes, right? I just love the way this whole thing smells. I mean, it smells amazing. Alright, get some more glue. And put this one here. Ah, how cute is that? Hey, AAA. We're just screwing around making messes. I just love this. This is just adorable. I think I'm going to put some finishing sugar, and I think I'm going to do it in the candy cane just because it's adorable. I'm going to put it around in the snowy area just so that there's like red fleck and white chunky. Oh. I think that's cute. Maybe I'll put some on the roof too. I don't know if it'll stick now. My spackle is a little dry. I may have to place those. Super cute. I'm loving that. We've got like candy cane droppings all over. I think I have some little deer somewhere and some little snowmen. I'm going to have to pull all that out and stick them in the snow. Anyway, this is what I did with my mix that you'll be able to get if you want. Starting next week, I think I'll have it plus the template. I'm going to do a template for, I'm not doing gingerbread templates, I'm just going to do the house template with these specific pieces on it so that if you want to do a house with it, you can. And it'll just be with like cardstock, and you can take a knife and cut it. I was reading Triple A's cleaning. How funny. But yeah, I'm gonna do this gingerbread mix as a like a holiday themed mix that Prop Chef will put out. So if you're interested, that'll be coming out probably next week, if not the week after. As soon as I get the template ready, I can start doing the mix. But this is like totally cute, and it smells so realistic. It smells like you just baked a batch of gingerbread and put together a real house, which I can't even imagine how the heck you do that with gingerbread, because gingerbread is not, to me, gingerbread is just not hard enough to do that, and you would have to let it sit for a really long time in order to put together a house. But my mix gets hard in the oven in about 2 hours. Let it cool, and you're ready to go, and you can assemble the house. So this would be a really cute thing to do with kids for sure. All you have to do is, get a bunch of candies from Hobby Lobby or wherever and go to town. So I think it turned out really cute. Our project for the day, if anybody missed it, was not the gingerbread house. It was an open chicken pot pie that we did here with our vegetables and our chicken pieces showing. So that was the actual project for today. It was just Marie and Nicole didn't come on. They had some stuff going on. So I just stayed on longer and did my house. I've been wanting to do this house for such a long time, and I'm glad I got to do it. So chicken pot pie, if you want to watch a replay if you missed it. I think actually this was the one that we did today. So, isn't it? I think so. I don't know, they both look alike now. But I had fun. Thanks everybody for hanging out with me. I'm not going to be on for the rest of the week. I have tons of stuff I have to do, a lot of orders and stuff. But I will be back next week, and I'll be doing another live sale next week. So I will catch up with you guys later. If you're looking for any of my replays for anything that you can't find, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. It's Two Perspective Studio with Andy. All of my past stuff is up on there, plus I'm putting up unique content every week, also on our website, thepropchef.com. You can get original stuff. You can also shop on there for Prop Chef supplies and different things. So if you're looking for anything special, you can go do any of that. Until next week, thanks for joining me, everybody. Hope everybody has a great rest of your week, and I will see you later. Bye.